change the subject a little bit here. We are in an environment where money is sometimes scarce for the biotech, where the predominant organizational model is virtual or lean, extreme lean for the biotech. So the third component is outsourcing is the way. So you have all outsourcing, you have lean internal resources, you have little money or less money than you would like. And so we can talk a lot about, oh, geez, when it comes to CDMOs, CMC, internally, you got to have your act together. Internally, you got to have professionals. You got to know this and that before you're ready to go to the, and some of our audience are probably saying, well, gee, that sounds nice, but we're not Pfizer and we don't have all those things. So Bikash, let me start with you. In this environment, when you are lean and perhaps, and not necessarily, but perhaps have just less experience than biotechs had, just because they had more people. How do you select your CMC, particular to, I guess, and it could be general, but particular to our conversation here on CMC?
For CDMO, how do you choose the CDMO? Yeah, I think you're going to have to. I think Jumai started us off with that, the right sensibility, where she said you really need to understand what you're looking for. And so if you're really looking for a technical partner that has either expertise, perhaps it's a platform technology, or they have a lot of experience in multiple applications of, let's just, if you're saying the biologic, you say autologous, cell and gene therapy there, and they've done many different programs through this. They're going to bring a rich understanding, and they've debugged the processes a little bit to the table for you guys to work together on. So when you do your evaluation, that's one of the sensibilities you want to get. Jumai alluded to the turnover problem. I mean, the challenge with CDMOs is that the technical expertise at the top tends to be very stable, but the lower level tends to have a very high turnover there. People come in for a year or two, and then they go and join a drug sponsor, an operating company, or something like that. And so you do lose a lot of practical hands-on knowledge. Understanding that environment up front is important. What flexibility you may have as a person in the plant, example, to compensate for that. Just to illustrate that, I've done projects with clients where we will be the person in the plant, but their policies do not allow the person in the plant on the shop floor. And they're allowed to watch it through a television screen, and they can interact through a microphone, but they're not allowed to be on the shop floor. And that's partially because there's some history around them distracting an operator making a mistake, which now gets into a messy situation as to whose fault was it. So these kinds of things, if they're not really understood up front, when you're looking to partner with a CDMO to help you with the pure process design, the pure control strategy development, rather than the pure analytical method troubleshooting, for example, around that, if you don't have clarity as to how you're going to do that together, you're likely going to be disappointed when you engage that CDMO. Similarly, if that CDMO has not done commercial processing, as Jumai correctly alluded to, the QMS is phase appropriate. That's all we need. But it's probably not robust enough to support a commercial process. That's a very different sensibility around that. And so you have to weigh the pros and cons of getting that intimate technical partnership in development with their ability to consistently and reproducibly execute at the commercial stage. And you have to pick your poison, quite honestly. And so if I'm an early stage company, a phase 1, phase 2 company right now, then I'm going to look for somebody that's got the strong technical experience. And I call it scar tissue. That's my tagline. The scar tissue to sit with me and say, this is what we've got to worry about as we go forward with this. If I'm going to commercial, Now I need to think about, is this the right company I'm going to use? Is this the right partner I'm going to use? Likely you're not going to want to change. How do I bolster and make sure that I'm protected at the commercial level? But you have time to think about that. You have time to think
Right.
about that.
All right. Jumai, before I don't know if you want to jump here or not, but I want to point out to our audience today that on purpose we're kind of staying away from the incredibly important and growing roles of the consultants when it comes to all this. So we've done somewhat similar outsource pharma live events where it's been more of, okay, so you are lean, you are virtual, you are
Mhm.
outsourcing everything. So how do you pick your consultant? And you better pick somebody to help you out in certain situations. So today we're kind of staying away from a
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
dose of talking about the consultants